the faster, deeper learning over which you have agency, and that you will be able to take from the lesson and into the practice room and continue to practice and work on, is if you discover it and you describe it to me.
Sound check. Check 1, check 2.
So you discover the thing, and I, as the teacher, my job is not to tell you what your experience was, but to support you to figure out what that experience was. So now you have the touchstone of that experience, so you can come back to it yourself. How many times have you been in a lesson? I remember this very clearly when I have had lessons where a teacher says to me two things. One, they'll say, yes, now you need to work on your appoggio, or now you should have more legato. Now it will feel like you have a string of pearls moving through your blah, blah, blah. This will feel like your whatever. And I'm like, okay, I'll try to make it feel that way. And then, 20 years later, I'm like, oh, to lean, right. I get what you mean now. Or the other one is you have a mountaintop moment, you have an aha moment. Lynn Helding calls it a performance shift. So you have a aha moment in the lesson. The teacher or the masterclass technician, whoever, says, yes, that was this, this, and this, because you did these 5 things. So now I go back to the practice room and I'm like, I cannot recreate that.
Yeah.
If the teacher or the masterclass technician had said, what did that feel like for you?
Yeah.
What changed for you?
Well,
do it 3 more times and tell me what changed.
You spend some time.
Now I can go back. Exactly. Now I can go back to my practice room and be like, I know when I'm at 75% of what I want. I know when I'm at 80%. And you know what? I can trust that I can get to 80% if I want to, because I remember that it felt like whatever the XYZ thing was, right?
I want to affirm what you're saying with a yes, yes, yes in bold capital letters. I also want to acknowledge, though, that there are, and I experience this a lot with beginner singers.
Yeah.
Who I think need to even be schooled into that experience. And I find with a lot of my beginners that the process does start out by necessity as very transactional. Do X, Y, Z, step 1, 2, 3. We're going to step this out. And this is, I will be, fully revealing, this is how I teach, especially beginners, because it's almost like we need to prime the pump. We need to get ourselves into a zone where we can give expression to what you are highlighting there. It's almost like, because of the moment in history that we are in, we do need to, as teachers, it's almost like we've had to go, what we thought was the beginning of the journey for many, we've actually got to take steps back even further and go, oh, okay, that's where you're starting from. Let's now go on that journey.
Let me offer that singers may not know, a learner may not know who they're listening to, but they know what they love. When I'm asking those kinds of questions, who are you listening to these days? What's at the top of your playlist? And they're like, I don't know. I put on Spotify and I end up listening to a playlist that was generated for me by Spotify. And it had some good bops. Amazing. What did you love about it? What brings up the feels in you? Let's start. And they may not be able to answer. And that is absolutely fine.
And that's
right?
the point, right? Often to start with, and this is the priming that we, I think, often have to take students through to start identifying, obviously with Spotify, the algorithm is serving that stuff up to you because of it's learnt you like it because you keep listening to it.
Yeah. So the priming to me looks more like offering options. So my assumption, so there are 4 stages, in some educational circles, we talk about four stages of student directed learning. And our understanding as voice teachers often, especially when we hear like we're supposed to be student led, blah, blah, is that we're supposed to already be at the fourth stage. But no, students are very rarely coming in at the fourth stage of learning where we are in this purely sort of coach, kind of, consultant kind of phase versus the first stage, which is baby bird, right? Like for most people, most students are coming in, regardless of chronological age or experience, are coming into the studio at that sort of first stage of learning, that baby bird phase. And that's absolutely fine. And when we don't understand that there is a progression to this, that we can build this out, which is what we're talking about it with offering those like options and maybe taking a step back in terms of where the starting point is, as you were talking about. We often will keep people first of all, we will get frustrated with trying to do student-led learning because we're like, well, how did that feel? And they're like, I don't know. Well, of course they don't know. No one has ever asked them to think about how their body feels before. No one has ever told them that they get to choose what songs they want to sing in a lesson. No one has ever told them that they get to like things for specific reasons and that they can start to articulate that. No one has ever told them that they get to ask for something else in their voice, right? Of course they can't answer those questions. That is, and neither should they be. We get frustrated with student-led learning because, well, they never say what they like about anything.
Yeah.
Of course they don't.
Yeah.
You're starting at 4 when you should be starting at 1.
Yeah.
And the other thing that we get stuck in is we get stuck in 1 as teachers often, right? Where we just stay in 1 because we think that's the way we're supposed to be teaching. We're constantly supposed to be just feeding them, rather than realizing, oh, that is the first stage of self-directed learning. That's the first stage of learning. That's not like wonderful, deeply fulfilling, exciting kind of learning. That is just where we start. And also, the farther along those stages of self-directed learning we get, the less responsibility and the less hard work it is for us as teachers, Not that we get lazy, but the work it's a totally different kind of work. And it becomes this journey of learning together, right? So at that beginning stage, exactly what you're talking about in terms of the options, when I say, how did that feel? Or what do you love? When I say, like, what do you love about the music? They are very often going to say, I don't know. I don't know what I love. So now I'm going to offer some options.
Yeah.
And I may not have they may not give me any answers yet. All I'm doing is feeding it. I'm just throwing out the seeds. So they start to get in their mind, oh, wait, I have choices here.
Agency. Yeah.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I can make some choices. They may not be able to make a choice or articulate what felt different to them in their body for a year. They may not. Fine. You're not going to leave them in that little spot where you are 100% responsible for their learning for the rest of their lives, are you? No, you're going to continue to seed. And some of the seeding, like I said, are some of the options offering. What do you love about your current playlist or whatever Spotify is giving you? Is it the rhythm? Do you find it exciting? Does the music make you want to like sing along? Does it make you want to dance along? Is Spotify giving you a ton of music that makes you feel like you want to like cocoon in your bed and be alone from the world? That's also awesome. What about that music makes you want to cocoon and get alone get alone? What about the music makes you like? You're the teacher. Your job isn't to tell them what they feel, but your job is to get them thinking about it. So they can figure out, like, that's why we're the experts in the room.
Yeah.
Because I can offer you all of these options so that you can start to think about my choices, right?
Yeah.